Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to Fish Plants y Mas. Um, Once again, Steve's on the road today, and he's running around running a couple errands. I know he's going to try to jump on here in a minute. I guess he's in a spot where he's got a little bit of bad reception. But thank you guys for being here this morning. I know it's going to be a double dose this week. Something that we normally don't do. Uh, I hope you guys enjoyed yesterday's, and if you didn't get a chance to see it, make sure you go back and check it out. I mean, we got a great opportunity to check out a gentleman's fish room, Devin Espinosa. He's the owner of the Killy Shack, and he was kind enough to let us in and check out the fish that he's breeding in his fish room. And we talked a little bit about what it's like to keep killifish, some of the recommendations that he gave for people that were interested in pursuing killifish, and so that was a really good opportunity to find out more information about the killifish. So, hey, Steve, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, bro. Busy. Busier than a puppy with two peckers, bro. But I'm here. What's up?
Not much. So I know I was telling the people that yesterday that this week they're getting a double dose of fish planty mas, but and kind of telling them a little bit about what was going on yesterday, and you having the opportunity to go check out the Killy Shack,
Mm-hmm.
and if they didn't get a chance to see it, to make sure they get an opportunity to go check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are you doing about, man?
Man, tank-related activities, man. You already know. Moving
So,
stuff, doing,
uh, oh, okay.
getting everything together for the grand opening. We already talked about it.
Oh, okay. So when are you gonna? Do you got any dates as to when you're gonna make that public, or?
Uh, be looking um, here in the next few weeks, August.
Okay, so it'll be
Yeah,
next month.
it's good because school will be winding down. We'll get ready to go into the fall. So and then the heat.
Okay.
Cause yeah, it's Hades hot. I ain't shipping nothing. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
worth it.
Well, that'll be good. Um, well, anyways, today's I guess stream is we're going to talk a little bit about the event you attended a couple of weeks ago, and I know
Yeah.
we were able to talk about it before you went. So it's obviously now um, you've gone to the Texas Area Killifish Organization event, and so what were some of the? I guess walk us through what was it like more than anything else.
Okay. So like George said, it was the Taco Bell review, and it's through the AKA, and it's our Texas Houston version of the show. So what it is you'll have speakers, a couple keynote speakers. This year it was Mr. Jack Heller, and it was also the Keely Shack, Mr. Devin Espinosa, and they both gave a talk. We had a nice sprinkling of a turnout, a lot of hardcore people. So the first day is the show where they do the judging, and you get entries from all over. So you don't have to come to Houston to enter your fish. You can have your fish compete in the show, and then you can either say show only, make arrangements to mail them back to you, or you can do show and then auction them off.
Oh,
So
okay.
like that would be a cool thing. For example, like if a prize pair of something went off, and they were like first place best in show, and then that person just out of love was like go ahead and auction them. This best in show pair now can be auctioned, and they can generate a better amount of money for the organization.
Okay. So let me
So
ask you
you
this:
got that part.
for the
Yeah.
show part, uh, Are they in categories, and are they only killifish, or are there other fish that are being competing for the show? What's that show like?
Okay, so it's only killifish for the show,
Okay.
and it's broken down into all the major killifish families.
Okay.
This year, I stopped counting at 13.
Oh wow. There's that. Well,
And
how many families
yeah,
are
so yeah, it
in the
goes.
killifish? What do you want to? What is it called?
Don't even
Genius
get
or?
me to lying. It's in the double digits. It's
Okay.
family.
Okay.
So like the word killifish itself is a blanket term. And like
Okay.
what we were talking about yesterday, like killie is Dutch for ditch fish. So it means ditch, canal, small stream, small body of water. So it was a colloquialism of any little, come on, pececillo, like any little
Yeah.
minnow in the ditch, that it's a killifish. It's just a local name like a guppy or something like that. So when they split the families up, it's representatives from each category. And what they do is they do um, annual and
Hmm.
non-annual, and then they're broken up into their families for that.
Okay.
And then they'll go African. So they had African, South American, uh, Old World, Eurasian, and then other was the categories I remember.
Oh, okay.
And then
So
there's
you get
different
you.
ones, for me. Yeah, like for example, the Paraphanius minto is Eurasian, so it would be in the African Eurasian other category.
Okay. So you can find killifish just about
Right.
any
And
part of
then
the
they
world,
break it
right?
up into everywhere except for
Okay.
Antarctica.
Okay. So
And that's
most
that we know of.
oh, okay. So they're still being discovered every year, right?
Yeah,
So
just
how do
about. And it was going back to what we was talking about. Their their genetic diversity, because they're so diverse genetically. Like you can have some in a puddle like I don't know, 50 miles away from each other, but because they're separated, you know what I'm saying? They'll be the same species, but they'll be expressing different phenotypes. And I brought up the correlation Poecilia wingi, endless live bears, they're the same way. So like when you get into stuff like the Santa Maria, El Dorado, El Tigre, those are
oh. Those are the disadvantages of being on the road, I guess. We'll give Steve an opportunity to get back on here, but
I was getting the phone types. Those are
we lost you,
phenotypes and
Steve. Hold on,
no, I'm
we
here.
lost you. We lost you for a little bit. Do you mind going back a couple of seconds to what you were saying?
Um, so I was saying, like with the endlers, what you
Okay.
got is a phenotype, but they're the same species. But
Okay.
because of different, in this case, it would be geographical barriers,
Oh, okay. So it's basically
i.e., like a body of water
they're
separated by
isolated.
land.
Okay, yeah, they're isolated species that have been developing up in the wild, right? There's no way for them to come together. Is that what it is, or what?
Right.
All right.
And that they just start expressing the phenotypes. It's biology, like you got one with the blue stripe. The females like that one. They have babies. They keep selecting males with blue stripes. Next thing you know, you got one with blue stripes, like a Santa Maria. You know,
Okay.
this is selective breeding, but it's natural. It's not man-made, and I think that confused a lot of people. They don't understand these things come out of the wild looking like that. So they're not manipulated by people, if that makes sense.
Well, it's no different than doing selective
And then
breeding.
so it makes it to where right. That's what I'm saying. So because of the knowledge being so little, say you got somebody selling endlers on the internet, right? Like on Etsy, and they
Okay.
mutts. Well, the people are just going to throw it all into that category, and they don't understand. No, that was just one unscrupulous individual. There are endlers, phenotypes of endlers that come out of the wild looking like said thing. That's why it's our responsibility to stay educated and ethical with certain things. Like if you got P grade mutts, say, hey, I got P grade mutts. You know what I'm saying? Like
So,
P, K, and N.
okay. But where does one go to get educated on that to make sure that what you have is legit and not a hybridized species? Is there a place for somebody
So
that's is interested in the antlers that they can go and
yeah,
research?
there's a registry.
Okay.
There's a registry. So and these will be on the registry if it's real. And most people, if they're honest, they're gonna tell you, I got P class, K class, or N class. The only ones that should be on the registry are N class, because those are the ones that have not had any guppy in them since they've been tank bred. They're tank bred. They don't have no relics of wild, but true to phenotype, they're the closest thing to wild you're gonna get. Their blood haven't been tainted with guppy, regular guppy. If
And
that
that's what
makes
they're trying to
sense.
do with killifish too, is making sure they don't hybridize with other areas, right? So I
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
that's one
That's the whole reason I'm even on that. It's the same thing of keeping them pure, so you know
okay.
what's what. Like you could have wild killies mixed in with tank killies from the same species, but just because you don't know where they came from, you got to call them all tank bred. Like
Okay.
you don't know. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but
either you could nuke the cot. Well, you don't have to nuke it, but you know.
well, what I'm asking this, and the reason I'm asking this is because I know if they're doing shows, that means there's still some selective breeding that is being done within the killifish, because I'm sure that they're
Yeah, it's just done right.
okay. So what's the difference between right and wrong?
Kind of like what we said yesterday.
Well, no, I'm doing it
Not
for the
keeping
benefit
track of
of the
stuff. Like
I'm doing it for the
taking.
benefit of the people that didn't watch it yesterday
Yeah,
that are here
I
just
got a
for
gardener eye. Yeah, like you got two of the same species or something, but they're both from two different locales. You don't care. You throw them in there and breed them. You just cause the hybridization. And
okay.
I know it confuses people because they say, how's it hybridization when it's the same species? Because it is showing two different phenotypical expressions. And in some instances, per DNA, there are distinctions that can qualify them as their own species or at the minimum a subspecies. That's why.
Now, knowing the hobby and stuff like that,
And,
and the market, because let's be real, a lot of these people that start breeding fish is at the end of the day, it's probably going to be for profit reasons. I mean, in the majority of the people. So, what are some of
right.
the precautions that the Killifish Association is taking to make sure that these species are not being hybridized? Let's say that you have a garden eye killifish and the coloration on that is really neat, but you want the finish of a different killie, so you decide to crossbreed them and try to create kind of like what they did with flower horns and all the other hybrids that are out there in the market, the electric blue, Jack Dempsey's, and stuff like
No,
that.
that ain't no, not even on the. Yeah, no, no.
No, no, what?
Don't even entertain it.
It can't be done.
Like it's not
Is
even.
it?
No,
No, I'm trying to get
like it's
clarification.
not even.
It can't happen.
So
That's
like
the fish will
it would
not
be like
will not.
it would be like trying to. I'm gonna explain it to you so you can track. It would be like taking a mutt to the UKC Kennel Club show in Westminster and trying to show the damn dog in the contest. Nobody's gonna take
No,
you
no, no.
seriously.
That's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm saying either. What I was trying to get at is, do the fish, if you don't take these precautions, the fish will breed across each other. And if somebody is trying to selectively breed some traits from one killifish to another, is that possible? And if so, how do they prevent that from happening so that you don't get those hybridations that happen? Or is it just basically come down to the ethics of the individual that's keeping them? Uh, because at the end of the day, people want to buy a pretty fish. And if you can take certain traits, because these fish are very colorful and beautiful, but is it our responsibility to teach people that you shouldn't do that? Or is it's never going to happen because those fish will not interbreed? I guess that was the question that I was trying to pose. Uh, but I think, yeah, we lost Steve for a little bit. Hopefully he'll hop back up on here. Hey, pal, how you doing, man? I just want to thank you for being here today. Renee, thanks for joining us today. Lidia, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros y siempre apoyarnos. Tommy, Silver Creek Aquatics. Hope you're doing good today. Thank you for being here today. Um, yeah, for those of you that just came on, um, we're going over because uh, Stephen got an opportunity to go to an event that they had out near Houston for the Texas Area Killifish Organization, and I know we talked about it on our last stream that he was thinking about going, but today we're trying to go a little bit deeper what the event was, what the experience was, some of the things that he saw. We're really I had the opportunity to attend Sake, which is in the Phoenix area, and that's the Southwest Aquarium Keepers uh, event or something like that. I can't remember the acronyms right off the top, but those are all put on usually by the local killifish club. And what's so neat about these shows, especially because killifish are not a very common fish. It's not a fish that you're going to go, hey, Funk, how you doing? Jeffrey Watts, thank you guys for being here. Yeah, these fish are typically not the fish that you're going to go to your fish store and be able to find them. Most of um, these killifish, for the most part, are I don't want to. They're kind of like okay, for the younger folks. They're like Pokemon cards. And what I mean by that there's so many of them out there that everybody's trying to collect a certain special cards. Well, these fish are special in the fact that one, a lot of them could be threatened in their local environments because of the way they breed and the life cycle that they have, especially the annuals. Sometimes I know Devin was explaining yesterday that these areas are okay. Well, let me backtrack a little bit for those of you that are not very familiar with the way killifish reproduce, but a lot of, especially the annuals, because there's annuals, non-annuals, and and they break down into those basically those two classifications. But the annuals, what they do is when the waterways get flooded and the water rises, um, as it when it does that, there's a lot of eggs that were left in the soil from a previous rain season. And what will happen is a lot of these fry will hatch. Well, because these are not permanent waterways, eventually that water is going to recede and it's going to start drying out. So these fish have evolved to be able to grow rapidly during the wet season, get to sexual maturity, reproduce. And as they reproduce, those eggs will get placed on the bottom of the waterways, and as the water starts receding, they kind of get sucked into the ground, and they'll stay there. They'll go through what is called the dry period, and basically what happens is whatever the rain season duration is, they'll go like, for lack of a better term, into hibernation. That's just for making it simple to understand. So these eggs will go through that period. There, there's enough moisture in the ground that'll prevent them from drying out, and the fish will stay in there for X amount of months until the next rain season comes along and the water starts rising, and these guys will start hatching. Well, the problem with this, as they were explaining to us yesterday, is that a lot of these areas are currently being developed for urban sites. Even though, but the problem is they'll come and do an environmental assessment of the area, but if the environmentalists that are surveying these areas are not familiar with the breeding behaviors of these fish in this area, and the problem is that they're currently going in looking for species that are living at the moment. Well, if they are doing developments in these areas, half the time it's going to be during the dry season, and they're not going to be able to see the live fish in the area because by this time they've already died out and everything's dry. And unless they know to go looking for these eggs in the soil, half the time they get passed up and they get overlooked. So what ends up happening is these sites will get approved for development or improvement, um, and they're eliminated. So that's why these species are being threatened, and that's why it's a big push to try to conserve these species and try to educate people on these species because a lot of these species are only kept in tanks nowadays because you can no longer find them in the wild. And that's just because uh, urban improvements. I mean, the population's growing, and you got to figure out places where you're going to put them. So, and you can't you it's it gets one of those things where it becomes very political because it's very easy for us who are already in a developed country to try to tell people that are in a up and coming development that they can't build because you need to conserve these species. That's a whole different, political spectrum that you get a whole political issue that comes into play for that. But who are we really to say they can't or cannot do stuff like that? Just because um, we were able to evolve or grow quicker than other countries. So that's that whole dilemma with the whether it's right or wrong. No different than the people in Brazil cutting down the rainforest because they're trying to expand the cattle industry. Those are things where, well, if we really wanted to do something about that, then the easy fix is you start consuming the all the hamburgers that are being made or stuff like that. So that's where the ethical comes into that, but that's not here nor there. Hello, Stephen. Thanks for joining us. Hey, George. Um, RB3. Thanks for being here with us. Yeah, we're touching a little bit up on the killifish. Right now, what happens is Steve's out on the road. He's got some stuff that he's working on, and he was kind of telling us a little bit about the experience of the event. I'm waiting for him to come back on, but in the meantime, I'm just kind of filling in the dead air because nobody wants to listen to that. Uh, hey, Sketty Nona, Sarah, thank you for being here with us. Big Shrimping, Steve, how you doing, man? Thanks for being here with us. See, he's got a comment. It says it wasn't the president of Brazil that told Obama, wasn't it? Okay, yeah, wasn't it the president of Brazil that told him, don't tell me not to cut down the trees when you already cut down yours. Yeah, that's kind of like what I was trying to get to. It's just it becomes one of those uh I guess political. I don't want to say it's not necessarily political, but who are we really when we've already urbanized most of this country to try to impede the development of other countries? I mean, it's kind of it's it's kind of two faced to do that. I guess in a way, uh, but at the end of the day, if the market wasn't in such high demand for a certain product, then there wouldn't be a need to expand in that market. Uh, and unfortunately, eh, I don't know how deep in the woods you want to get with this, but at the end of the day, we're being hypocritical because a lot of that funding for those expansions are actually coming from American industry. So you know, it is what it is. Um, Eduardo, thank you for being here. Yeah. So as far as what I was saying for Saki, what I liked about it, um, and that was the kill event that was put on by there, is that it finally gave me an opportunity to physically see some of these species that we hear about on videos, we see them on pictures, but because they're so limited, it's hard to sometimes to come by and actually be able to see these. And a lot of these events, as Steve was alluding to, a lot of the fish come from outside places. They all pretty much belong to, I believe it's the American Live Bears Association. And I know there's another one that's a national one for the killifish. Let me see. Mark, I know Mark knows a little bit wrong with that. Let's see. Uh, I mean, Powell's Aquatics. There's nothing wrong with breeding the same species, but there are two different locations. Uh, but they need to be marked as aquarium strains. Okay, yeah, and that's what I was trying to get. That was the point that I was trying to get Steve to clarify on, because it's the problem is if they're very familiar, and for the untrained eye, for somebody who has not really uh, experiment much with killifish, you're bound to come across these situations. And especially after hearing Devin speak yesterday, where he was talking about that a lot of the females from these species look exactly alike. And what I can equate that to is a lot of the African cichlids. A lot of the females, unless you have a species specific tank, it's hard to distinguish them if they're in a community tank, because they're all pretty much the same body type, the same coloration. So for the uneducated eye, it's going to be very difficult to be able to identify from which species that female is. And it happens with guppies too, especially the wild type guppies, or not the wild type, but unless you have selectively bred the females to show a lot of the coloration, the specific coloration, it's going to be hard. You could easily mix up a line, because the females just are hard to identify. They all kind of look the same. So with Power Equipment, every time I see that name, I think about the old speakers. Um, and if the location code is on it where you've mixed them up, then it's not unethical. Yeah, because I'm sure as much as these fish are being bred in fish rooms, I'm sure there's got to be the bound cross hybridation that happens unintentionally. Uh, so it's one of those things. I know they take a lot of precautions. If you look at a lot of these fish rooms, what's so interesting about them is that you don't need a lot of water area to be able to have killifish. That's one of the upsides that I've always known about killifish, is that they don't take a lot of a breeding facility or room or setup. That's the word that I'm looking for. Um, they they don't require a lot of space, because you can literally breed these fish in shoe boxes. The plastic little totes, and they don't. You can set up a rack, one of these racks that are real popular, the wire racks, and have your entire breeding operation off of one of those racks. And so but from the little bit that this is all new to me, and this side of the hobby, the killifish side of me, I mean, not me, but of the fish keeping, is relatively new, and I'm learning so much within the last couple of months that I started really digging into trying to learn more about killies. Um, and I know they tend to be kind of an intimidating species, because there's not a lot of information per se, as like tiger barbs or guppies, or not that many people have kept them. So a lot of that information, you really have to go out and seek it, to be able to find it. And that's that. After a while of being in the hobby, you start. I don't know if I don't want to say acquiring a taste for these type of fish, but you're you're willing to expand your knowledge of species, leads you down these rabbit holes. Like right now, for me, the one that's really got its hooks on me is I'm learning a lot about Goodyears. And ironically, it's not ironically, but the reason is because a lot of these Goodyears are from the central part of Mexico. And I've recently have made a lot of friends in the fish keeping community from these areas, and I've asked them about it, and half of them don't even know about these species. They don't even realize how much of an effort they're doing outside of Mexico to keep these alive. The other thing that I've found that was really interesting, though, is that since they are protected in Mexico, a lot of unless you get special permits, you're not allowed to keep them. And right now, the only people that are actually keeping any colonies are the universities because they're trying to study the fish and trying to bring those populations back. But unfortunately, the government doesn't understand the value of the hobbyist and the important part that they play in trying to reproduce these species to reintroduce them back into the wild. The only reason right now that tequila goodiots are in the wild back again is because of hobbyists like you and I that have that have been able to get your hands on these fish. And this is the whole CARES Act or the whole CARES program. Um, because of hobbyists that are really trying to contribute to the conservation of species. That's the real reason why a lot of these species have been able to reproduce to numbers where now they've been able to be reintroduced into back into its natural habitats. Now, hey Steve, hey,
Yo,
can you roll up your window? 'Cause the air noise. Oh, there it is. Whatever it was really hard to listen to what you had to say.
can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Good to go?
Yeah, perfect.
My bad. I told you I'm busy in the puppy with two Packers. I'm in another vehicle now. So where we left off, we talked about the pedigrees at the dog show.
No,
And you were trying to
yeah, Piles kind of cleared that point up.
okay, good.
Where we were talking about sometimes where species from a certain locale, even though they're the same species, but they're from different locations, will interbreed. But as long as you keep track of that and you label it as such, then it's not as unethical because you're telling people exactly what it is that they have. And then what I started telling people is that in the very little time that I have about learning about killifish, one of the things that I have noticed is that they try to do a strict breeding program so that to try to
Yes.
avoid any crossbreedings between the species. But that's kind of what I was really talking about. But as far as let's get back to the event that you attended. Let me switch those up because I want you to be the focus of this, not me.
So
So based walking us through the experience, it's how many day event was it?
2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. And it was at Art Luderman's house. And Art is he's the president of the Houston chapter.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you can because the air from the vent
Can
is
you hear me
making
now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So Art, it was at his house at Casa del Luderman's, and it's
Oh,
cool because
at his physical residence, huh?
yeah, he gutted his whole house and
Oh,
let
okay.
us basically camp out at his place, put the tents up, everything, and hosted the whole event there. The goal, of course, is we get a more of a turnout, we get a bigger venue, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
So, give me 1 second. I got to make sure nobody calls me and knocks me off like last time.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather go ahead and do it now because I want to get into our topic.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was just kind of sharing them. I started getting into what it was like to the one that I went in Phoenix, and what was kind of cool about it. For those who haven't been able to experience one of those events, but it's really no different than any of the other, like per se, the Keystone Clash. The only difference is based on the fish club that's putting it on. That would be the only difference of the species of fish that you're going to see there. But
Right.
the overall structure, as far as having an opportunity to do, whether it's a fish swap or an auction or tables for sale or whatever, that's kind of the same format. You'll have guest speakers that'll come in and talk on specific topics. Some of them will be talking on specific fish that pertain to the club. And sometimes you'll have them just, a special speaker that they're bringing in from somebody else that might be totally unrelated to the fish they're keeping, but they still find interesting. So that's what's kind of that's what's really good about going to these events, especially if you have them going on locally. Oh, we lost Steve again, huh?
No,
There he
I'm
is.
here.
Okay.
Like,
So
no, what you were saying is like exactly true, because pick a fish you like, any type, cichlid, killifish, live bearers, etc. And I promise you, there's a organization for them, and people regularly, like, they meet up. And that's gonna be when you get to really find the species that you don't see at the store, stuff like that. And it's different because these fish are hobbyist fish. They're not mass produced or none of that stuff. So it's a different way, to get exposure to the hobby, if that makes sense.
yeah, what one of the upsides that I've learned quickly from, especially like fish swaps from your local club or these events, is that you will more than likely get healthier fish overall. It doesn't matter, because they're kept by hobbyists that really do care about the fish, and the
That's
quality of
right.
these fish is going to be a lot better than any other fish that you buy from the market. And that's one of the encouraging, or one of the things that I encourage people, that if they get an opportunity to tend to these places and they're looking for fish, I would recommend that you go to these places first
Right.
before you start buying from other sources.
It's I ain't got nothing to add to that. Like, it's a no-brainer. And like I was saying yesterday, it's kind of built in, right? We gonna
Yes.
talk to you and bet you out to see if you overextending yourself or not. Because, like, being able to put, two and two together to get four, you'll be able to know from talking to somebody more or less where they at, what level of fish keeping they at, and people will help you. Like, hey, you got to do such and such and such and such, right? And stuff like that. So it's kind of built in. It's intrinsic that it's not like come here, buy, buy, buy. Like I said, it's not about the money as much as it is the fish.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
one of the things that you pointed out yesterday that was pretty interesting and right dead on was the fact that they're no different than us. A lot of us in the hobby, we really don't like being around a lot of people. So that I know that if you've never been to one of these events, that could be a little bit off-putting having to deal with large crowds. But when they're at the local level, they're not as big. If you're thinking about the big events, kind of like what's already been established for a few years, whether it's an Aquashella
yeah,
or maybe even now at this point, the Keystone Clash, where it's becoming a bigger event, it's much different to be associated with those group of people because they're a lot
mm-hmm,
like you.
right,
It's not like going to a ball game, or it's not like going to a parade where it's people from all walks of the world that have different interests for being there. Everybody that's going to the events share a very similar interest to that you have. And what's really neat about that is that 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 thing that makes us sometimes um, introverts, makes it real easy for us to be able to communicate because we share that same interest. And at the end of
right.
the day, it's the fish. You're there because of the fish, and you're trying to learn more. And so there's a little bit more of feeling at ease when you go to these events because you know that the person that's there more than likely probably likes a lot of the fish that you're there to see, anyways, and you
Yep.
have that commonality.
And you know what I want to add too? Like, you really can't lump something like Aquashella or Reefapalooza or any of these big things. You can't even really compare them. The only thing is apples and oranges, and the only thing they have in common is they're both fruit and they both come from a tree. So going to Reefapalooza or Aquashella or something like that, a convention,
Nope.
kind of lot.
Yeah,
Same
there he is.
thing. You know, going to Repticon is not like going to a meeting at your local herpetological society and doing like a swap, and they'll have a keynote speaker like that. It's you go in there, it's a festival. That's what it's for. It's a big convention. So I think what we need to start doing is delineating the difference between a convention and an actual meeting. Whereas these are meetings. That's what we there for. Those other things are conventions where an amalgam of different people with different interests, like Jorge said, different motives, they convene and you get the thing. What happens is this is oftentimes people's first exposure to a mass gathering of like-minded people that keep animals, in this case fish. So it gets the stamp as being the charter, the benchmark for gatherings like this, when really it's not even it's not comparable past what I told you, apples and oranges.
Yeah, well, I guess the way you can look at it is that conventions, a lot of these conventions are more product driven. They want to sell you a product or try to convince you, whereas as these other ones are more information driven.
Right.
That's the big difference.
I got an analogy. So, and it's not mine, but
Maybe it
the
was.
the analogy I heard is that I like to use is this. Back in the day, a boat used to be a vehicle. It got you from A to B.
Yeah.
Now you got people, they'll go on a cruise, right? They'll get on a cruise ship. The cruise ship itself is your destination. They got everything you need on there: bowling alley, bar, dancing girls, the food, water slides, all kind of shit on the cruise ship. So cruising is it. And it's the same thing to where, like, the only way we could advance in the hobby back in the day was to go to these meetings, have these little groups, meet at Randy house on every odd Thursday of the month, and talk shit, have a fish swap, and grow. You network. It was LinkedIn, WhatsApp, everything before we had the internet. Now you don't have that no more. But Randy and them getting old as shit, and the internet is taking over. And they don't know nothing about the internet, but all them people that advertise to Aquashella do. But they not of the same caliber or class as your proverbial Randy and them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now what we have is the destination is the vehicle. The vehicle turned into the damn destination. So now people go to Aquashella and Reefer Palooza and stuff like that, and that's just it. But they don't leave enriched. They just leave with empty pockets and more fucking questions than they had when they showed up. Nothing. It's like going to the titty bar. Like, Aquashella is the titty bar of fish keeping. I don't give a fuck. You'll never see me at one unless somebody pay for it. I'm not even playing. Like, if somebody asks me to go, I won't tell them no. But I'm not going to make the effort to go to one. I'm not playing. And no reason. I don't like people. I can't do the gatherings, man. I got that PTSD bad. Like, look, I'm like driving now. I'm like I'm in a goddamn convoy somewhere in the AOR. But that's the best analogy I can give to kind of help people. Hey, man, if y'all like concerts and partying and shit, go rock out Aquashella, man. But if you a weirdo like me, you an introvert, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll talk to the same 5 people. I'll talk to you if I don't know you. Like, for real. And that's why I talk so goddamn much, is because I don't talk to nobody. So the poor bastards who fall in love with me and develop some kind of relationship with me, they ass out. That's how it works. But you can pick though. With this information, what me and George trying to give y'all is, we trying to show y'all there's more options out there. And you can pick. I know some of y'all be burning to go do other stuff, see other stuff, but that might not be your cup of tea. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
other
it's
stuff
like
out there for you.
there's nothing wrong with experience wanting to experience it at least once in your lifetime to see what it's like, what the event's like.
Right.
And like I said,
Exactly.
those events will offer something different. And usually, what I hear from people is like a Nakwashella, Reefa Palooza. Um, like I said, those are more product driven. And what I mean by product also is you're going to see some of the people that you see on this screen right here. A lot of the times they're there. It's more like a meet and greet, an opportunity to come have an opportunity to meet the people that you've been following for a while. So that's kind of one of the attractions to a lot of these big events, and that's why you see a lot of influencers and stuff like that that'll
Right.
attend. It's an opportunity to actually meet some of the people that you've been following.
And see,
Where it's
the social media influence that,
hey Hank,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I know because you
Might
cut
be.
out totally.
I'm in the boonies. So like
Yeah,
Reefa Palooza is OG, and it was
yeah,
before social media and shit. And they advertised like Repticon. They advertised like the gun shows. They advertised old school, right?
yeah,
Aqua Shella is kind of a new thing where they took that idea from Reefa Palooza, but now they added influencer. They took Coachella's idea and added it to fish.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so like Reefa Palooza was a good thing. What it did was it was a convention. It gave industry vendors, people in the industry, a chance to get at one place, show their new stuff, and make an event out of it. And all the people come out, and you get something from it too, because they'd have seminars and talks and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And that's what it was. But what we have now is what you're saying, which is extremely true, and the majority of that is because of the influence that social media has. So the format change is what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
It's not right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, I'm objective. Like I don't care either way. But I'm just trying to put it out there in normal, like how we talk, so the
yeah,
people can understand it.
yeah.
Like
So that you,
I'm driving home, I can talk shit about this like that. I'm cool. See what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. The thing is, it's always best if you have all the information as to what you're getting into, then your result from that event is going to be is not going to disappoint because you know what you were attending,
Right.
and that's you can
You
enjoy it
can
for what it is.
right, and you can manage your expectations going into it.
Yeah, but the downside to this is that a lot of these local events that happen where if you're really trying to find information, sometimes they're hard to come by unless you're in the inner circle. And what I mean by that
Right.
is unless you're subscribed, because a lot of these clubs are still maybe about 10 years behind when it comes to social media technology. A lot of
Yeah.
these groups are still going to be, whether it's on forums, a lot of them on the internet, not even platforms like Facebook or any of these, but the ones that have kind of taken the next step to try to be a little bit more on social media, it's going to be Facebook. But that's kind of antiquated too because not too many people um, associate with Facebook. So that was one of the things that we were talking about yesterday. That a lot of these, it's important that a lot of these groups, as you become a part of it, and if you know how to use the different platforms out there for social media, you can help advertise these events, even to the community in itself, and making sure that this information gets out there.
That's
Um,
right.
because I know for the one that happened in Phoenix, I would get emails based because of the fish club that I was in, but I really had no idea other than the emails that I received what the event was, and it wasn't until on Instagram by chance somebody happened to share a flyer for it, and that led me down into trying to find out more information about it, and that's how I ended up going to the
Huh.
event. I was lucky enough that I was able to get one of the speakers that had been on there the year before as a guest, and we were able to promote it on Instagram, and that was kind of cool because it gave me an opportunity to learn a little bit more about what the event was. So when I went there, uh, I wasn't totally out of place. I knew what I was going to. I knew what the expectations were, and
Right.
so yeah, go
You
ahead,
know
Steve.
what comes to my mind is remember how we was like you used to party, right? Back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, you had house parties. That's what we called them. And then, like as I got in my late teens, early 20s, before I joined the service, they turned into raves. I don't say the R word because we were talking about the spandex and shit, but it's the same concept of word of mouth, being in the inner circle. Hey, I got the flyer to the party you trying to pull up, and you know, BYOB, invite only, but everybody welcome, long as you was invited. And that's basically the concept that you're saying is you were able to get in and you on social media, you advertise it with permission, of course. It's the same
Yeah,
concept, I think.
yeah. It's and a lot of what I found out is from attending these, a lot of the older people in the circle, and not that I'm any younger, but I'm talking about much older than I. They're willing to pass this information on to whoever wants to listen because they want to make
Yep,
sure that whatever knowledge they've acquired over the years doesn't get lost. Because
that's
a
right.
lot of, and it's unfortunate because a lot of these speakers, their experience is probably the only experience that exists out there in the fish hobby. So what I'm finding out is they're more welcoming to allowing people to record their speeches, whereas before it was a big no-no.
Yep,
You cannot do that. It was frowned upon. Uh, don't ever get caught trying to record any of this. But now, as they've gotten older and they really come to the realization that life is finite, and if you don't document your knowledge, it's going to be lost forever.
that's right.
And a lot of these gentlemen that were speaking at the event that I were there were so happy that somebody was taking the time to be able to record this information, because unfortunately it became one of those things where nobody within their immediate circle was interested in learning this information and carrying the torch. So they understood that, look, once I'm gone, this information's gone unless it gets copied, and it's kept for other people to be able to have access to.
Right? And that goes back to us talking about gatekeeping. And the sad part about it is the people that's gatekeeping, they ain't really got shit to gatekeep. I mean, it would be like uh guarding the lid to a fucking dumpster. They ain't gatekeeping nothing.
Yeah,
And but what it does is it sends people down cul-de-sacs and dead ends. You just said it, Jorge. Life is finite. Why waste your time going down these dead ends and cul-de-sacs when you could just go tap into the direct source? You know, at the end of the day,
yeah.
we just want to be happy when we turn the lights on and feed our fish, bruh. At the end of the day,
Well, it's like that whole conversation we're having, that it's why are people arguing fish tank husbandry when you should be
right?
more focused on keeping the
Uh,
fish and
well,
doing what
that's
you're
what I'm
doing.
saying. Well, here's what YouTube did. So, like YouTube, most of the people on YouTube, it's OJT, right? They're all beginners, so they're all
Yeah,
fascinated by this shit. So, of course, you can have a channel for all that time and have a new video every day when you got a brick and mortar pet store, also. And you know, it's new to you, so you share it new and enthusiastically. I wasn't trying to be arrogant or cocky when I said, like, ain't none of that shit impressive to me because none of it was new. I was doing most of that shit by the time I was like eighth, ninth grade, you know? And God forbid when I got out on my own and I didn't have to ask, shit, every surface that could hold it had a tank on it. Every horizontal surface. I don't give a damn. So looking at that right there, it goes back to the discernment part, but then it goes back to, again, what are you looking for going into it? Like, what's your purpose? You know, what were your expectations going into the thing? And as long as you understand what it is that you're dealing with, you don't have to be disappointed. And I've been seeing this lately, like, it's a lot of people pissed off in the internet, in the fish fam, like
yeah,
mad as hell. And I'm just sitting up here like, yep. And I'm gonna be real. The allure is wearing off. COVID over with. Life getting back to normal. Even though half the motherfuckers bought subs anyway, it still ain't panning out. They didn't make it big in the city, and they being the toxic people that they are. And it's rubbing other people wrong, and they saying, the hell with it, I don't want to be a part of this no more. And it's unfortunate. But it goes to understanding what you're dealing with. Like, if you go to McDonald's and they hand you a bag with $100 bills in it, you're going to kind of be fucked out. But on the same token, if you pull up to Wells Fargo,
Oh, he's frozen.
in the tunnel, you're going to go in there and try to whoop that bitch ass. You see what I'm saying? So it's just understanding what you dealing with going into it. YouTube is Wikipedia, man. It's open source. Anybody can get on there and say anything. And if you can't vet them out, unfortunately, you run the risk of getting your heart broke. That is the transaction. Do you get your heart broke or not? So what's your currency? Your currency is your judgment. And that's why people take this shit so personally.
Yeah,
I mean, you know?
And my take on all of that is that it's a good place to start. And as your
Yeah,
experience and your knowledge starts to grow, then that's what's going to keep you in the hobby, is that thirst to try to learn more information. Um, but you got to understand, social media is a tool. It's not the end all solve
exactly.
all. It's not the end all solve all for whatever things you're trying to deal with. I mean, it does grant you a platform where you can interact with other people,
Right.
but that's only going to carry you so far. It's whatever your interest is within the hobby that's going to be able to keep you energized and enthusiastic, and wanting to find more information and learn more stuff. Because I don't know about others, but myself, I like learning about new things on a regular basis. And
Right.
it's not just hobby related stuff. I like learning about lots of things in general. But I just happen to share the hobby that I'm most fascinated with on this platform, and that's all it is. But um, I know that I'm using this as a tool for me to gain knowledge, and that's what I'm doing. Um, but I think sometimes people are using it more as a means of getting out of a situation by using this tool
I was just
instead of
about to say,
what's that?
I was just about to say that. Like, people use it as an escape. And what we realize is, irrespective of fish tanks, irrespective of the hobby, irrespective of any of that, we're talking about people. So one of the benefits to being in a club, being in an organization, is you get to choose who you align with. And per the club, per the rules, all that bullshit ain't tolerated, because we got bylaws, we got rules. So you got to check your ego at the door. It's a coat check for your ego at the door. Does that mean that there's no jackasses and personality clashes in the clubs? Of course not. Anything people can touch, we gonna fuck up. But what I'm saying is, it ain't the wild wild west like social media.
Yeah.
You know. So there's a lot of intrinsic pluses that come with, because we nerds. And I don't know how educated most people are. I'm pretty educated. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever done career assessments or anything like that, but I would encourage you to look and see if you could take a free VARK, personality assessment, a learning assessment. It's VARK. See if you can find one free. And if you have the money to pay for it, do it. And take that assessment, and you will be surprised how accurate that is and how much you find out about yourself. Because everybody doesn't jive the same way. And when we're dealing with something like biology and ichthyology and animal husbandry, I'm sorry, boo boo, but how you feel don't mean shit. I'm sorry. I don't care how you feel. It's biology. It's hard, fast rules. Like, I could feel that 1+1 should be 7, but it ain't gonna happen no time soon. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick. Like, like people will be like, well, I feel like such and such, such and such and such and such. But bro, I don't care how you feel. Go ahead and do it, and then make a video about how you nuked the tank so you can sensationalize it for views. That's the shit I'm talking about. How you feel don't mean shit. I don't give a fuck how you feel. The rules are the rules. And I'm sorry, boo boo, your YouTube subscriber count ain't gonna absolve you from killing fish because you went off your feelings based on empirical data. I mean, like, y'all can, like, I'll take it, bro. I'll own it. I'll be an angry militant Negro, but I'm not gonna argue about what I know with you. Y'all motherfuckers trying to know the shit. I ain't killing fish. Just saying. I ain't nuking tanks. Just saying.
Yeah. But
And my lights are still on.
going back to the event to try to wrap this up. So what were some of the? I know you said they had a show, and then after the show, I'm assuming there were some guest speakers.
Yeah, so Killy Shack gave a speech on the care and breeding of Nothrobranchius, and Jack Heller gave a speech on his escapades in South America and the rivulines and some species that he discovered.
Oh, okay.
It was awesome. I got to talk to. He was picking my brain. It was so cool because I was telling him, I was like, man, y'all don't understand. Like, I'm a nerd, so all you old timers, like, I idolized you guys. You guys are like, if it would be like Coco B. Well or Hacksaw Jim Duggan or the Roddy Rod Piper. You know, I'm Asian myself, but like, y'all them for me. And he was laughing and stuff, but he was picking my brain because we were talking about water. And everybody was the standard. Everybody running all, oh, this big leagues, baby. They running their RO, talking to jogging, you know? And that's another thing. I'll get to that in a minute. But they were talking to jogging, and I was like, man, I've been on this rain kick for a long time. And he was like, really? And I was telling him about it, and then we started talking about tinacos and like how in the Dominican Republic, like how we put them on the roof, like gravity systems. But it was cool to be able to sit there and talk with somebody who personally knew Herbert Axelrod. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get that from nobody on YouTube arguing about dirt and water changes. I'm just saying, like grow up, get some substance,
Yeah.
people. And then it's like, they give the talks. He was talking about life stuff. One of the most poignant things that I took away from this whole interaction with from Mr. Heller's speech was there were some species that he brought back in the way wind, man. The way wind. And he was over generous with them. And his populations, he got them to do well, but they got old and passed away. And although since then more have been brought to the States and they're in the hobby, it's just good to have that. The haplotype, man, is what it's called. That haplotype, the original blood from those ones that took that first voyage. And he was like, man, I was just over generous with them because we're nerds. We get the stuff. And this insurance is like, here, man, get these. Here, I'm going to give you some puppies. You know, here, get them. Like, it ain't that big of a deal because I'm going to see you at the next meet. It
Oh,
is.
there he is.
But life happens and you think about it. And by the time you catch up, you're like, man, damn, I wish I would have kept those. You know, I wish I would have just held back a few of them. And I say that for you guys to take that now. Look at your projects that you have going and look at how you move in the hobby. And I mean, I know this is applicable to our group because I know we got a a dedicated group of people who rock with us no matter what. And I appreciate y'all for that. So I know I don't have to censor myself when I say this. Look at your projects that you're doing and think about the long game. Think about the longevity of it. It ain't all about how much free shit you can get. It ain't all about what have you done for me now lately. And I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's a lot of flakes in the whole that social media shit. That's why I spazzed that one time and I was like, I'm an open book. Hit me up on the DM. I talk fish all day. If we hit it up, I'll give you my phone number. But do not ask me nothing about social media. Don't ask me to help you get subs. How the fuck I'm gonna help you get subs? I've been on YouTube since 2011. I got 500. The fuck, you know, like don't do that. But think about your projects, y'all, and like the longevity of it, the impact of it. Legacy fish keeping is what I'm all about. Sustainability is what I'm all about, and these organizations, the AKA, by the way, is the oldest, if not one of the oldest, national animal hobbyists, much less tropical fish hobbyists, organizations, nationally recognized in the country. And if that don't speak volumes of playing the long game, I don't know what to tell you. Like, we've been doing it. And that's why you get so many people, so many knowledgeable fish people, right? When they come to social media, we got a chip on our shoulders. We angry, or we just seem like assholes. Hey, I'm probably the best person I know, and Jorge can vouch for this. I will give you the shirt off my back in the snow. I got a big heart. Like, I'll fuck myself over to help people. Like, I should be so much farther in life, but I'm okay. I'm happy because we good. We gonna get there together, and I mean that. But what it is we frustrated because you get these clowns, and what it does is, you know, it ain't but so much rope to go around. And if these assholes is taking up all the good rope, and the people need their rope, look how many folks you got dangling. You got all these folks dangling now because you got these clowns taking up all the good rope. And it's not that we antisocial or none of that. It's just that we've been doing this. We've been doing this. So it's rather insulting to hear some idiot talking about making a filter with sponge scrubbers from the Dollar Tree when you could buy a filter for as much money as it would cost to buy all them goddamn sponge scrubbers. It's just stupid. Just because you can don't mean you should. What's the practicality? Like, I mean, if I had a box of them sitting around somewhere, okay, cool. But you got these little babies thinking they're going to save money. By the time they $25, $30 out of some bullshit, if it worked from the dollar store, they could have took that $25 and bought them a damn good filter from the store.
Yeah.
And so it's insulting for us to see this shit on the internet, and then it's like, how can I articulate to the people what's really good without my message being lost in emotions and shit? Because people, you know, they get whatever. So that's what that would be my biggest takeaway from joining organizations is there is that right there is the only way to, because you're going to meet people. You're going to get people. You're going to get a network, a real network, friends.
Yeah. I wanted to see if Powell's Aquatics was still on the stream because he's got a really good video that he took of the event. And I wanted to see if he would give us permission to share it here with the rest of the group. But I don't want to do it without asking. So I'm hoping if he's still here, if he doesn't mind. I did find it on the Facebook page for the event, but it's his video.
I have permission from Mark to use Espinosa's speech because I asked him to record it for me because I was streaming the day T.A.K.O went down. Remember?
Yeah, the one I'm talking about is the one where you can see the tables that were set up and some of the stuff they had for sale. It's just kind of like a quick walkthrough. I think the video, he actually has it on YouTube because when I went to Facebook,
go to Powell Aquatics. Can somebody put his link up? Because I told him I was going to tell people to go watch it on his channel. That's
Well,
why
I
didn't
have it.
post
I have it queued.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that it was okay with him if we use it. That's what I don't want to use somebody's content
Is it
without their permission.
as long as it's on his channel, it's okay. If we're planning from his channel, right?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and share the screen then.
Yeah, it's fine.
And this is
y'all be sure to go sub to Powell's Aquatics. Look, y'all look. The internet gonna go like the internet bamboozle y'all. I'm not gonna say nothing. Go deep dive Mark Powell. That's all I'm gonna say. Go deep dive Mark and sub to him immediately.
Let's see if I can get this to play. There we go. Let me get it back to the beginning.
Yeah, mark one of them hidden jewels that y'all sleeping on. Because we nerds, bro. We be out here lifing. We don't really have time to be flexing on the internet.
See, and this is what I was alluding to with killifish is that you don't need a lot of area to be able to keep killies. I mean, that's one of the upsides. You can pretty much breed them in containers like what you're watching here. Obviously, it'll be a breeding pair, and it's not necessarily the ideal situation, but it's not uncommon for breeding to take place in these type of containers and be able to set up a fish room almost in a closet.
I'm gonna put Jorge, and this look. You ain't keeping killies if you don't have a whole stash, and I mean a stash of critter keepers. That's essential. Like it was almost known. It was so funny. It was a mountain. You remember them old pictures where they killed all the buffaloes, and you had them old dudes standing in front of buffaloes, the dead buffaloes. After the show, after we bagged up for the auction, it was a mountain of critter keepers outside, drying off upside down. They all were sanitized, rinsed, and mountain of them. A mountain of critter keepers. Because it's a known thing. Like a critter keeper is like finding $1 on the floor. Like, damn, I found $1. You know, it used to be a quarter, but it'd be too hot to stoop down for a damn quarter. Now it's $1. Like I ain't gonna lie, I'll let somebody laugh at me to chase $1 and stomp on it and put it in my pocket slick. I ain't gonna lie. You know, but critter keepers, you like it's conducive to hoarding. Like all this hoarding everybody trying to do and have fish rooms and breed and shit. Killifish is made for that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing now that it makes sense is I didn't realize this. I thought it was going to be at a community center that they had the event, but when you mentioned earlier that it was actually at somebody's house, now after the first times watching this video, I was thinking, wow, it looks very different. Like everything was kind of in the same place, but now it makes perfect sense that it's somebody's house where the meetings were being held and why the setups look the way they do.
Right. Basically, but you know what? That's how it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that Art's still doing it old school, because they could have got like a little small venue and blah, blah, blah. But no, this is how it's supposed to be. Get a chair, sit your ass down, network, put that damn phone up, get to know people, shake hands, use your intrapersonal skills, and socialize. And I'm so glad that he did it like that, because that's what it was. Everybody grab something to sit on, cooler, bucket, whatever, pop a squat, and y'all come on. And that's what it was. And it was really, really cool. It's a cool experience. If y'all ain't never been to even go to a meeting at a fish club, a local fish club, when it's the same vibe, the exact same vibe. And so basically T.A.K.O would be the culmination of those quarterly meetings or like that, those periodical meetings. And T.A.K.O is the culmination of that. And since it's chartered through AKA, it's on a national scale. So as long as you're a member, you can participate. Because like I said, we had a lot of fish flown in, a lot of fish from California this year.
Yeah.
Yep. It was really, really awesome. If you can you put up those picture, the picture of that one killifish that I sent you.
Okay, hold on.
And
I gotta bring that up.
so
I
the
gotta
so the
bring that
people
up
can
on.
see it.
Yeah, the only thing
Okay.
I got was the picture. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, it should just be a still photo.
Yeah, no, but I'm trying to because it tied me out on. I was projecting it on my
On
on
your
my cell
computer.
phone to the
I
computer,
got
and
you.
it gets it tied me out. So wait, see, this mentions take a while. Okay, that's not what I want. So yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it. Hold on. For some reason, where can I refresh
So
this?
while Jorge's looking for that picture, this is what the whole point of it is, and he'll get the visual aid. Don't make sense. So the pictures of a very beautiful rivuline species of killifish, and Jack was telling about his experience going out there collecting them, getting them back to the States, that whole nine. The point of bringing it up is traveling, getting passport stamps, learning languages, and really, really getting into the hobby. Like, you don't have to deify any of this stuff because anybody can do it. You don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to be an ichthyologist or anything like that. Are there procedures that you have to go through if you want to get your fish bag, etc.? Protocol, yes, but as with any undertaking, there's going to be a process. What I'm saying is, it's expectation management, and I'm gonna use Aquashella again. So, like, I know for a fact a lot of effort goes into making Aquashella. Like for some people, they start planning it like that year out. You put that same effort, that same logistics into taking a trip to Peru. And you don't even got to go that far. Take a trip to somewhere comfortable like Panama, Costa Rica, and you would be amazed at not only how easy it is, but how much fun you have. Take an eco tour. Talk to some of the locals. Tell them what you're trying to do. $5, $10, $20 to one of the homies to go do something they're going to do anyway. Collect bait. You can't go wrong. So that's really why I was asking you to bring that pickup, because I really do want people to start thinking outside the box in the hobby, because like Jorge been saying, man, these people getting old. And once it's done, it's done. And the more people that do anything, the better it is. We touched on it yesterday. Brazil whitelisted. You can't get nothing out of Brazil. I mean, money talks all day long. There's all kinds of, I mean, money ain't stopping the palm oil factories. Money ain't stopping, it ain't stopping the slash and burns. So, like, I'm saying if the money was behind, if the incentive was there, but in a more impactful way, I just think it would add to the insurance of making sure that we keep a hobby.
Oops. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm having a hard time bringing up the picture. Because I'm on the Fish Plancy Mas.
Oh, okay. I was trying to see if I could do it from my phone. I can't.
Yeah, I mean I have it on the phone. I guess I could show it that way, but it's kind of janky. There
No,
you go.
I will post them to the community page.
I don't know. I don't even think the green screen's gonna allow
The
me to
green
do
screen
it.
won't let you.
Here, I'll get rid of it. Let's see. Oh, I gotta go to settings down here. Virtual background, none. Okay. So now it should allow me to show the fish. So that's the fish you're talking about, right, Steve?
Yep. Yep. That's it. That's it. And I mean, look at that. I'm gonna put it on the community page so y'all can see it, and it's got the species on there too. But that's one of the new news. It's beautiful, and just to be there and hear him talk about the trip, the nuances of the trip, all those details, you ain't getting that at Aquashella. I'm sorry. I mean, I really am trying to, low key, I am sensationalizing it a little because obviously there's a want, there's a need, there's a desire for people to go and interact. They just don't know where. And if you don't know where to go to the store at, what you do? Go to Walmart. Hey, I ain't from here. I got to go to the store. Where Walmart at?
Yeah.
And that's how low key I feel that way about Aquashella. I want to do something. I want to go somewhere. I want to see some stuff for the fish. I want to see the new cool stuff. Where Walmart at? Oh, this year it's in Dallas. Next year it's in Chicago. You know, Orlando, whatever. You know, where the Walmart at? You ain't got to go to Walmart. Maybe you just want a steak. Wouldn't you rather go to a craft butcher shop than go to the damn meat section at Walmart?
Yeah, but again, like I was saying, a lot of people that are going to those Walmarts, as you call them, they understand what they're going to. It's a different,
Yeah, and that's cool.
It's a different experience. They
Right.
understand that experience is more of a social experience, with the opportunity of maybe finding some good deals on products, and things like that, and an opportunity to do a meet and greet with somebody that you follow. That's really
exactly.
That is really the experience that people are looking for when they attend an Aquashella. Versus
That's a perfect analogy. I want to go. I want to walk around. I want to browse. Versus, hey, no, I want this steak right here. I need it. It's perfect analogy. Thank you for cleaning that up. Because I wasn't trying to be a dick, y'all.
and
Thank you,
versus going to these club-driven events, you do get some of that interaction. You do get to meet some of the people, but it's more local, and there's a lot of information to be had. Now, what I've noticed or what have I experienced is the fact that you get to network with people that have a lot more experience than you, and how willing they are to share that information with you. So if you run into any trouble, you know you have a resource that you can use to help you deal with whatever situation it is you're dealing with in your fish room. So that's one of the things. I know you've gotten home. We've almost been on here for an hour and a half. Anything you want to do in wrapping this up before we leave?
Actually, yeah. So go check out the AKA if you guys are interested.
Move your finger off the speaker.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
What about now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, the AKA, check out the website. They have annual all the way up to like 5 years, I think. And pay the money. If you don't want to pay, you can still browse the website. And that's just the most comfortable one to go to. There's more. There's a lot more.
Yeah. And with that said, well, once again, want to thank you guys for hanging out with us for an hour and a half on a Saturday morning. So I appreciate that. And we're not going to take up any more of your time. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, and be on the lookout. Steve might be. I know he's making some moves here and there, but I think he's finally going to start opening up his store again. So be on the lookout for that. And if you want to get an idea as to what might be coming, check out his Instagram. He's been leaking little bits here and there, little nuggets as he calls them. And
can you hear me?
Yeah, it's muffled, but I can hear you.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been doing is making moves.
And
But
today's
yeah,
not
be
the
on the lookout.
exception. Today is not the exception. This is
No,
actually
no.
a step in that direction. Well, with
Yeah,
that
I
said,
ain't
thank you
quitting.
guys for being here. We'll catch you guys in a couple of weeks. Just for those of you that are might not know, I know we've both been working on different projects on our own on channels. Although Steve really hasn't done a whole lot on his yet. One of the things
Mhm.
that I'm doing is a little project that I'm working on where I'm doing one-on-one interviews with people, and I got confirmation. There's another one coming this Tuesday afternoon. You'll be seeing the the thumbnail for that, so just keep an eye out for that. And I truly appreciate. Oh, Pyle is back. Hey, just so you're aware, Pyle, I was trying to get a hold of you because we wanted to show the video that you took of Taco or Taco.
Yeah,
Uh,
I told
of
him
the
it was cool because we
yeah,
talked, as long as it was on his channel
Steve said that it was
or your
okay, but
channel.
I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that we are going to use that and if it was okay with you. But Steve said that you guys had already spoken about that, and that's why I was trying to get a hold of you. Either way, um, we've got a couple of good streams coming up. I know there were some projects
Damn
that
good
we're
stream.
working on. The only thing we're trying to figure out is in what order we're going to do this, but you'll get a little bit more of this as far as the species is going and stuff like that. But we got some other stuff that might help you in the future as far as trying to grow your channel and if
Right,
you're looking to get information on that too. So that's another one that
right.
might be coming down the pipes. With that being said, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Steve, closing.
Now, yeah, just like Jorge said, we doing our projects and stuff. And I mentioned me and Jorge, we throw stuff around. I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but basically do a Q&A where y'all can pull up, ask me stuff about plants. Once I work in like a periodicity, we'll go from there. But start leaving feedback if that's something y'all would like to see.
All right. Well, I got to run. I got somebody at the doorbell. So see you
All
guys
right,
later.
man.
Take it easy.
Peace. Already.
Let's see.